Coming up on Added Time.
All right, take a bit of order, then a little bit of variation, just like on the pitch.
They'll go back around and then come back around, and at at times it can be boring.
Graham Potter produces a Harry Potter-like miracle.
Onside, offside, Ronaldo is wrong.
What Ronaldo says, I personally would take with a grain of salt.
Added Time. Good to see you, gents. Vinny, good to see you again.
Good to see you all.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
Do you like order? Do you like doing things the same every week, or do you like flipping it around?
Oh, a little bit of variation is good.
Yeah, a little bit of both. I think variation comes from order. So just, all right, have a bit of order, then a little bit of variation, just like on the pitch, right? So you just keep the opposition on off balance.
Like Gattuso said, a little bit good. No, we won't go there. Vinny, have you got a vote on this?
I've backed what Bozza said. More profound than it sounded.
Thank you.
Because we're changing things this week on Added Time. We're going to do the onside, offside first.
Okay.
Oh.
No, because after that, the way you've said it, so because the other thing wasn't working. Okay.
No, it was working.
You've got to adapt. You've got to adapt.
Adaptability is the mark of a genius.
So we will talk about Pep Guardiola's 1,000, and we will talk about a young Australian man by the name of James Overy a bit later on. But we are going to start with onside, offside. And Mark, you can do the honours this week.
Okay.
The first question: onside, yes. Offside, no. You know how it works. And good to see Manchester United picking up a couple of individual awards with Ruben Amorim. Who would have thought this? Manager of the month. Manchester United, Mark Bosnich, will finish in a Champions League spot this season.
Onside. I said at the start of the season as well. And look, it was a rough start for them. They played some games where Arsenal comes to mind, opening game of the season. They played very well and got nothing out of it. The pressure started to build. He showed that he could adapt. He was questioned quite rigorously about it. He showed that. They've gone 5 games unbeaten now. There's a different feeling about the team. And, just been named manager of the month, although Mikel Arteta, would have a very good case as well, because they've been 14 games unbeaten since losing to Liverpool in September. And Brian Mbeumo, the player of the month. So, they've got to pick it up after international week, but so far so good. And when I say Champions League place, I believe that England will be in one of the top 2 places of the coefficients, which will make the Champions League place goes down to 5th. So that's what I'm thinking.
There you go. Fozzie, Sweden, they become a topic this week because it's international week. They're in a bit of trouble in their UEFA World Cup qualifying group, but they've made a managerial change. So Graham Potter, ex-Premier League manager, has had he started his career basically in Sweden. After Graham Potter produces a Harry Potter-like miracle and brings Sweden back into the fold and makes the World Cup. Onside, offside?
I think he can't do worse than what they're doing at the moment, that's for sure. He does have a lot of experience because he speaks Swedish as well, and so he should fit in, should be very comfortable there. He's been uncomfortable in his last few roles. I think he'll do better. I think it's good for him to revitalise a bit. I think at the moment he's not going anywhere after Chelsea, West Ham debacles. Can he qualify them? Look, it's not impossible. I mean, you have a look at the forward line and the quality of players they actually have. I mean, they've got Isaac and Eucharis up front. And so he's got a squad there. He walks into an environment which he knows extremely well. Those players know him. He was a champion there in their own league. So I would say very possible.
So
onside.
Yeah, slightly onside, I think. Just.
Exactly.
Boz,
yes.
Cristiano Ronaldo had another yak with Piers Morgan, which is always entertaining. He said some interesting things, though. He said that it's easier to score in Spain than Saudi Arabia and that the Saudi League is better than the French League. Onside, offside, Ronaldo is wrong.
He's wrong?
Which means onside is yes?
Yeah, you agree with the statement?
Oh, yeah, I agree with the statement. So onside, yes. I agree with the
completely
statement.
Wrong.
So he's talking out of his...
No. I agree with the statement that he's made because who am I to say? He's played in both those leagues. So I agree.
So it's offside from you then?
Offside, yeah. So, OK, then. Well, you twisted that last minute. So I agree with what Cristiano Ronaldo said quite simply. He's played in both leagues. Just a little caveat, but from the outside. And it is a caveat because I don't watch enough of the Saudi League nor the French League to make a real... But I will say this. He did play with a better team in Spain, no disrespect to Al Nassr, than he's playing in Saudi. So that better team would have created him far better chances as well. So that's the little caveat. But who am I to talk? He's played in all those leagues. He knows.
Is it like he was scoring goals in Spain when he was 28? It's probably easier to score as a 28-year-old than a 40-year-old, I would have thought. Just a thought.
Well, my initial thought was what Boz said then. That is that, hang on, he was at Real Madrid. And what Ronaldo says, I personally would take with a grain of salt, because he's an uber self-promotional vehicle is also what he's very, very good at, and he wants to promote that league, and he's been paid an absolute fortune, a king's ransom actually, to play in it, and he's been a big promoter of the league and even the country, I guess. What was the one? What did he say about France?
So he said the Saudi league is better than the French league, which I don't know how you.
Yeah, I don't know how I can say that.
What are your?
Well, he hasn't played.
Yeah.
That's the one.
He hasn't played.
So
in
he
the
should have
French
had
league,
follow-up questions. Were there follow-up questions?
I don't know.
Like, on what basis?
I'm not watching this Piers Morgan
Yeah.
Ronaldo
No,
interview. I'll let other people summarise it for me.
But my point is that he's played in Spain, he's played in Saudi Arabia, so he's in a position to comment, whichever way he comments. Yeah.
So how does he know about the French league then?
No, he's just got to pass.
He's played against French teams.
I just question whether the worst
think there's
team
a lot
in
of
France is better than the worst team in Saudi Arabia.
Well, there's one way to find out, and this will come eventually when we have more teams in the World Club Championship.
Yeah, Club World Cup.
Agree.
Yeah,
Agree.
it's a very, very big call.
It is.
That's for sure.
It is. Foz, one for you. Tottenham had a win that they much needed in the UCL against Copenhagen. Mickey van der Ven scored the goal of the season / possible Puskas. Onside, offside.
Oh, onside, yeah. It's got to be one of the all-time great goals scored by a defender, and one of the best goals that you're ever going to see in the Champions League. Carrying the ball from effectively his own penalty area.
Edge of the penalty area.
I think it's the longest ball carry for a goal, as I understand it, in Champions League history anyway, and one of the longest in European Cup history. So it's just the staggering...
Not
effort.
to talk it down, but any chance someone could have made a tackle.
Well, yeah. Well, that's also why it's quite rare.
Quick.
But also, he's a
because usually some defenders will actually step in front as well, whereas they kept kind of trying to be concerned about the players around, and he just kept going. So it's the circumstances are rare, but so is the speed and the quality to be able to not just get there, but actually to be able to finish when you get there as well.
Well, he's a freak and a bit of a unicorn, to be honest. I remember reading after he scored that goal, someone on Twitter who works in data analysis or that space, and he said that he was scouting Van der Ven when he was at Volendam in the Netherlands, and he said that he was a centre-back, but his underlying stats suggested that he was a winger. In terms of his physical capabilities, which is...
He runs 37 k's an hour. I think he's the fastest player in the Premier League.
Yeah, I believe he is.
Pretty sure.
He'll be up there.
Tottenham, if his hamstring stays attached, I don't know how much longer he'll be at Tottenham. I think he's one of the world's best centre-backs.
Just on Tottenham, by the way, Boz, you no doubt keeping an eye on the Manchester United game. I shouldn't giggle at things like this, but it's, live.
Especially in view of the way Newcastle are going. No,
Hey, let's not get off topic here. We're on topic. Richarlison taking his shirt off and celebrating with the crowd, and then Manchester United got the other end and equalise.
Yeah, well, you take that risk. Yeah, you take that risk. It's like closing down with 6 players. You take that risk. It might work, but sometimes it doesn't. Yeah.
Oh, man. Anyway, Boz, a question for you. So Sunderland, you would have seen this. They're doing anything they can to get something out of a game, and they're playing good football, it must be said. They're not just playing
they've done
one.
phenomenal.
They've done outstanding, and that's
it's
coming
hard.
from a Newcastle
I was just
fan.
about to say, I know this is very difficult for you to talk about, yeah?
However, Mark, on the weekend against Arsenal, I did notice that the advertising hoardings were in about 3 or 4 metres to nullify the long throws of Arsenal. Onside, offside?
Onside, yes, completely understandable. I always remember Graham Souness at Rangers, and they had a Champions League game, I think it was against Steaua Bucharest, right? And Steaua Bucharest had 2 outstanding wingers, and he brought the pitch in to the minimum.
To narrow the pitch.
To narrow the pitch. So that's absolutely fine, no problem whatsoever.
And there are measurement max and min, in which case you can actually work. Under the rules of the game. So good, do it. The other one that often happens, of course, is longer grass, and that's what they used to do. That's what Mourinho used to try and do against Barca all the time.
But that's the whole point of
even like this high,
Dark arts are basically do what you can, and it's on the lawmakers to restrict you, basically. So we don't
within the law.
But sometimes law doesn't, account for everything.
Yeah, if you push the boundaries, you find something.
Mourinho would have let it go up to hip height.
Yeah, it was
if he was allowed against Barcelona.
Yeah, and it worked. It worked because obviously they need to, be able to move the ball as quickly as possible. Otherwise, they're in deep trouble. And also play on the deck. They don't want to go high.
Foz, you're an ideas man.
Well, I don't know about that, but
Manuel Pellegrini, I agree,
Yeah.
has an idea, an interesting idea to fix football and make football more appealing, which is if the ball goes, well, you can't, basically basketball style, you can't go into your defensive half once it's into the forward half. Onside, offside, that's a good idea.
Well, because I have to say one or the other, I'm going to say onside, even though I'm not completely au fait with the idea itself, although I had been thinking the same thing for some period of time. So I know why he's thinking it and how he can come to that. And the reason is because the ball is going back to the keeper too often. And there's too many backward passes, and once the team is attacking, they'll go back around and then come back around, and at times it can be boring. And whilst I like possession football, I like forward-focused possession football, and I don't like teams just going back there for no reason. So the thing is, but I do think there's some limitations with that specific resolution, if you like, because once you go into the opposing half, you're usually only going to have a couple of players there, and in which case it'd be difficult to keep the ball and move the team up.
If you're counter-attacking, for instance, you put it forward and there's two blokes, three blokes there. What are they supposed to do?
Yeah, this is the problem. And that's because he referenced basketball, I believe, but that's because there's only a few players on the... Even though it's a tight area.
5 on a court.
Yeah, and you can also hold the ball much easier than you can in this game. You know, you can actually do one of these so... The problem is that you would too often get the ball into the opposing half and not have enough players there. You have to come back over the halfway again. So I don't think that works. But what I do think might work is something along the lines of the goalkeeper can only touch the ball once in one specific action before a transition, for example, so that you can't go back twice to them. Right? So once the keeper can have it, or you can have a transition, go back and use the keeper if you want, that's fine. But once he gives the ball again, that's it. Sorry, you have to go and actually take the ball forward, or you guys have to work it out. I mean, obviously, you would need a lot of testing and other things, but the problem itself, I think, should be overcome by the game and by rules at the moment. The only other one on the theme that I think is interesting is, I would seriously think about putting the ball down and getting rid of throw-ins, right? And actually kick the ball in.
No throw-ins?
Yeah, I don't like throw-ins. Firstly,
every Brentford fan has just put their foot through the television.
Yeah, but they'd be able to kick it then instead of just doing one of those.
Don't worry about long throws. Everything's a corner now, basically.
So so the thing is, and the reason is because it's much easier just to press in the proximal space, right? And what you see is someone trying to bounce it down often and just, whack a volley to the other side anyway to open the game up. Also, you'd have a lot more goal-scoring opportunities if every time the ball went out, you just put the ball down, because you can't just go here. You can actually just flick it to your winger. So I think it would spread the game out a lot, would make it a more attacking game, and I'd like to see it just tested.
But you got to move it on quickly, though. If you're putting the ball down where a throw-in should take place, you can't dilly that. You've got like 2-3 seconds to...
Well, they dilly-dally with throw-ins,
but otherwise,
in the same way.
It's going to be even longer, though, the breaks,
Well, it shouldn't be. I don't know why. I mean, there's no difference from that and put the ball down and just play to the... So some teams would go here and try and hit the number 9. Some would just go back to you and just start playing it. So to me, it would speed up things because the restart would be even quicker.
Boz, have you got any thoughts?
Because you've got more options. You can flick it over someone, you can chip it, you can hit it long. You can.
IFAB Craig over here.
Told you he was an ideas man.
He said, I don't know about that, and then for the next 3 minutes he's just come up with Have you got any response to IFAB Craig over here? Or
Stop changing rules. We've changed the rules enough.
Fair enough.
When I came back in this country in 2008, Brad Fittler, the famous rugby league player, went on air with me and said, what I love the most about football? They hardly change any rules. Since then, we've changed a rule every year.
200 times.
It's hard to keep up.
That also is a very fair point.
Still to come on Added Time.
Music has all these different subgenres and all that sort of stuff.
Bugger it. Let's get excited because the kid's at Manchester United and he's going to play for the Socceroos.
To go from personal experience, I watched very closely how Alex Ferguson handled Ryan Giggs.
So watching that game on the weekend against Liverpool, how has he evolved?
If I can print off a transcript of that, I'd put it in the pool room.
Let's get into a big discussion point now. A man who has become a trendsetter in his own right. We talk about changing rules, but he's evolved so well, majestically even, over 1,000 professional games on the weekend just past. Pep Guardiola. What stands out to you the most, Boz, about not only the longevity but the success that this man has had since he managed his first game all those years ago for Barcelona?
Quite simply, three things. Number one, the trophies won. The absolute glut of trophies, regardless of what anyone says. When you go to big clubs like your Barcelonas, like your Bayern Munichs, like your Manchester Cities, the expectation of winning is huge. So there's no second chances. You've got to win or you're gone. So that's number one. Number two, the way he played football. I mean, the way that Barcelona team played football transcended the whole game to a different level. It set trends. People started playing the game differently. It was something that was just unbelievable. A beautiful style of football, like we saw in 1982 with Brazil. But the big difference is it won. It was winning football as well. And the third thing, the amount of players that he used to play with, Luis Enrique comes to mind. Players he used to manage, Xabi Alonso comes to mind. And assistants that he had, Mikel Arteta, Enzo Maresca, the list goes on.
And players like Company have come through.
All those ones.
And then there's the indirect influences.
Yeah, can I finish with So all those, that's the third thing. All those three managers.
You said quite simply.
Yeah, but you two interrupt me. So the ex assistants, players that he had, and players that he played with, who have turned into fantastic managers.
It's like a family tree.
Well, it is. And if you look at, say, other people, who have been famous managers, they have not had that type of influence on their ex-players, on their ex-teammates, or on their ex-assistants.
Hasn't passed on.
Yep,
it's an incredible. I mean, how genius does that look now? Whoever decided inside Barcelona, because there was a bit of a battle going on all those years ago about
there was,
give this guy a go. He only had one season with Barcelona B.
That's right.
Do you give him a go? Johan Cruyff, I think, stepped in and
I think
said,
so, yeah.
no, do not.
Because they wanted Mourinho.
Let this, don't let this choice pass.
Who had been there as an assistant to Bobby Robson. So he was also part of the family of the club. And
what a sliding doors moment.
Massive, eh? And Mourinho was always upset that he didn't get that job, and that's why when he went to Real Madrid, it was personal. Yeah.
So watching that game on the weekend against Liverpool, how has he evolved? Just in his Manchester City career, if you want to put it like that.
Yeah, so he's worked out again now how to deal with pressing systems and, in particular, the counter-attack, and that's by using his players in a different way now, and he just uses numbers in different ways around the field. And uses positional or the positions differently to what's currently happening to provide a new problem to opponents that takes them either a reasonable time or a long time to work out, or they don't work it out.
Yeah.
So, in other words, he's using his wingers inside now. He's effectively got 5 in midfield. So he's using his fullbacks wide now, whereas they were moving inside before. So what he's read better than anyone in 20 years in his coaching career is what's happening now and how I'm going to create a new path and move forward of where the game is right now to give everyone a problem.
One step ahead.
And what they're doing, one step ahead. But to do that has to have the deepest understanding of what's occurring, what people are doing, how they're trying to solve the problems, because the game is only a set of problems. You know, how to get the ball from here to there, how to get from there to there, how to get it in the net, how to stop them getting here, how to stop them getting here, how to get it in the net. There's like 6 problems, basically. And he understands them all better than anyone, knows what everyone is doing, and then is able to design different systems of movements within his overall framework of his principles that can cause new problems for the best coaches in the world. And that's a pretty amazing thing to be able to do.
Yeah.
And succeed at it.
Amazing manager, amazing person. I was incredibly lucky to be able to talk to him a little bit in
start of the season
on Zoom, which was, that'll go on the... I don't have a
On the
pool
wall?
room, but if I can print off a transcript of that, I'd put it in the pool room.
You'll get that video.
Yeah, that's nice.
Thanks.
You'll have a pool room.
Don't know about in Sydney, Feathers, but...
Maybe a rural area.
It's a highlight,
move out a little bit. But no, it was incredible to talk to him. What I found interesting was, I asked him about what he hopes his legacy would be, or how it feels to have... This is what I was trying to inject myself into what you were saying before, the influence he has beyond all the people who work with him directly, indirectly. It's a bit like, think of the Beatles. They sold a lot of records, millions of fans, but how many people, musicians, listened to their music and gave them an idea that either they pursued themselves or they branched off into their own thing, and basically all of a sudden music has all these different subgenres and all that sort of stuff. And I just think it's amazing what he has done in terms of planting that seed of a kind of attacking football that just look, takes your breath away, to be honest. And he's won so many trophies, and that's great. But, like, for me, I don't know if you'd say on par or better than, but, like, the legacy of just the idea of that peak Barcelona team, they don't give trophies away for that. That you can't sum up what that
how
feeling,
good they were.
And the feeling that people had watching them, and just how much that has just become such an iconic team in football history. Incredible. But on his legacies, he was just, and this is probably classic Pep in the way he carries himself publicly, but he's like, I don't want to be remembered.
Right.
You know, if I die today, in 3 days you'll forget about me and all that sort of stuff, which is like, righto, mate. Like, just
so would you say he's the most influential coach? I mean, there's modern recency bias, right? Because we weren't there with, Helena or Saki and others, but that he's had the greatest influence on football over. Because all coaching careers are relatively short, or 20 years or plus.
From my perspective, he's right up there in the top 2 or 3, if not number 1. And that's from, I was born 1990, so I've got a pretty small sample size in terms of the football I've watched over the years. But in terms of things won and people influenced, hard to beat.
Because you've seen in the last 12 months, Bozza, we were sitting there Champions League mornings watching Feyenoord come from nowhere to get something out of their game, and he was not in a good place. It was obvious that things were going on behind the scenes, not maybe in his personal life, but certainly in his professional at Manchester City. But this feels like the first time that he's actually had to, without moving club, change things and evolve it pretty rapidly. Is he on the right path this season with Manchester City?
He's done it before with Manchester City as well. Because remember at the start, the first season, he come 4th, okay? And he's done it before. Then he went after the likes of Kyle Walker and people like for the fullbacks, and then we saw him go through with the goalkeepers until he settled on Edison. And I think as well, everybody gets used to people's standards. They won 4 premierships straight. First time in English football history. And I include the First Division in that. So understandably, you're going to give that team who are doing so well another opportunity, which he did. They fell short, so now he's changing it again. But, just coming back to, you saw against Liverpool, teams have been trying to, and had great success defending in 4-2-4 against them. He changed it again.
Yeah.
And once again, another great strength of any coach is to accentuate the strengths of your best players. Cherki and especially Doku. Doku was unbelievable.
Yeah.
But he set them up in a way to make sure that they had the space to run into. They were the ones who were inverted, not their fullbacks. So, but long may it continue. For me, like I said to you, he's been the most influential manager from a tactical perspective in the 21st century.
Just briefly, Foz, last one on this topic. Is there someone out there in world football at the moment, might be a Pep protege, might be someone else, that gives you the feeling that they are where Pep was in, say, 2009? As the football brain, as the possibility of passing on a whole range of ideas and giving it to football and the people involved?
Not really, not at the moment. There are many younger coaches coming up now and doing well, and even breaking some records and playing what you'd say was proactive football. But Pep's in a different sphere because he was a child of Barcelona, and so he inherited a team that needed regeneration, but also brought Messi to the fore, and he created the best football, I believe, that's been created in history with that team in
so that's hard to
9
replicate.
to 11. So there's people coming through. Can they hit that level? That's a different level. I see him as the most influential. Ancelotti's the most winning coach in Champions League. And then in terms of overall trophies won is Sir Alex Ferguson is still a couple ahead of him. But in terms of actually his impact on the global game, he taught, I don't know if millions is the right word, but certainly hundreds of thousands of coaches all around the world how to actually teach a team to possess the ball. Because what happened is he came into his coaching career also at a time when social media was expanding. Football analysis was expanding, and all of a sudden all of his sessions were in books and they were online and they were on YouTube and they were on everywhere. So he has spawned tens or hundreds of thousands of disciples all around the world, and they're able to understand it much better because of his work.
Yeah.
And so he's fundamentally changed the landscape of the game in many, many ways.
Crystal balls, gents. James Overy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, young kid, 18-year-old Australian at Manchester United, yet to make his Premier League debut, involved in first-team training and everything. Tell us a bit more. Like, it feels like Tony Popovic is looking for a solution at right back for the World Cup for the Socceroos, or right-sided wing back. This kid might be it because he's played at the Under-20s World Cup. Are we getting excited that we've got our next Premier League star here, or what's the background on him, Vinny? Just before we go to Bozza, because he's got some intel from.
No, that's right.
We don't know heaps because the kid's just turned 18 and didn't play in the A-League, but came to prominence playing for Perth Glory in an off-season friendly, I think, against West Ham, and that obviously sets some eyes around the world onto him. Not long after that, lands at United in their youth system, played, I think, 19s for Scotland, but I think all the way through. Wanted to play for Australia, just did that thing that a lot of young Aussies based in Europe do, which is play for another team's national team at junior level, less travel, probably better football that you're exposed to, and then nailed his colours to our mast, thankfully, for the Under-20 World Cup. Saw him in that. Pretty impressive. Small sample size, though. But clearly he's doing something right because Ruben Amorim keeps inviting him to first-team training before the World Cup and afterwards as well. And now Popper, who... did a press conference the other day, was talking about they've got really good contacts at Man United and they're across everything that he's doing there and how well he's regarded. So if it's good enough for them at Carrington and if it's good enough for Popper, I'm ready to get a little bit excited.
100 million %, but I think it's a good thing that we're not getting too excited and putting too much pressure on the lad. He's very highly rated at Manchester United, like Vinny said, that's for definite. From Perth, just recently turned 18 on the 9th of November, and has played for Scotland, like we said, so we've still got to secure him for Australia. You've got to play, I think it's 3 or more full internationals to secure him proper. And also, I think this is overall part of Tony Popovic's experimentation to make sure that he's having a look at everyone, because come the World Cup, there are going to be times where they're going to have to change. Coming back to what we just said about Pep Guardiola, change during the game, change for a different game, and have different types of options. And he will definitely be one. And I really do hope, because, when you're that young, you're fearless, that he really gets the opportunity to prove himself. So I think he could make that position his own.
Boz, it has all the hallmarks of your personal story.
Yeah.
Teenager, on the books of Manchester United, yet to make a senior debut, called into a Socceroo setup. You speak there about we don't want to put too much pressure on him. You've walked in those shoes. Where does the pressure come from at that age, in that position?
Look,
Again,
I'm only going from personal experience. I watched very closely how Alex Ferguson handled Ryan Giggs, and I saw it with myself and Ron Atkinson at Aston Villa. The more you can protect them from the press at a young age, the better it is. It really is. The pressure comes from expectation. That's all it is. And you're young. You're playing that. You want to. It's everything you've dreamed of, but you just got to be careful. You just don't get too, because there are some people who want to trip you up. That'll be fine. One big difference is, I played at 18. I was against the club side Torpedo Moscow, and then made my Manchester United debut. I think it was later that season. One big difference: he's looking to play at the World Cup here. So this is huge. So just needs protection. That's, I know everybody, the likes of Benny, would be dying to get at him. And
I've requested it this week, and I've been told he won't be talking to me.
Yeah, that's
almost
right.
certainly.
And
won't be talking to me
Papa
yet.
knows about that, how to protect him. But look, I'm really excited. There's nothing wrong in getting excited, and there's also conversely nothing wrong in not being told. Let's just watch and see what he can do. I've heard he can do.
What do you reckon, Foz? Where does he sit? How do we frame it? Because it feels like when a youngster like this, because we don't have a player in the Premier League at the moment, Australia I'm talking about.
The words Manchester United still carry that weight.
That's what I mean. Right. So, like, when you're hungry and you open up the cupboard, even a dry box of cereal looks like a 5-star meal, if you know what I mean. If the cupboard is bare and then there's one thing in it, it has a value that is above what it really should be. Do we need to look at it that way, or bugger it? Let's get excited because the kid's at Manchester United and he's going to play for the Socceroos.
Yeah, so it's an interesting conversation always about players like Boz and Harry and Timmy and Lucas and so on, who go early before playing here, professionally, and then the ones who play here and then kind of grow up here and then go across to Europe. So there's two paths, and I think this can be a more difficult path because they're obviously moving away from home earlier makes things more difficult for most players and so on. So I think that's an interesting fact. The second thing is, my question is, like, is Manchester United actually the best place to be as a young player? I mean, how many young players are they actually going to bring through to the first team? So that would be, I think, something that Australia, wants to be aware of. And, we want him to obviously be playing first team football as soon as possible. The third thing is, what's most important to me is he played under 20s. So it's natural, for me, it's natural for one of the best performers in the under 20 team to be graduating to the Socceroos reasonably quickly. Like, that to me makes perfect sense. And it's more about that from my perspective of Australian national team setup than it is about whether he's playing first team at Manchester United or otherwise. And therefore, if you're playing under 20s or under 23s, but under 20s for Australia, and doing well, performing at a very high level, understanding everything, have the physical requirements as well. And Popper was talking about the loads that he's having, his additional loads now that he's training with the first team. Then it's perfectly natural that you graduate through to the Socceroos. And that pathway is extremely important. And in fact, I would say it should be happening more often. So you would prefer that, he's already playing first team football. However, hopefully you'd think that in the next 12 months that's certainly going to happen. If an outstanding performer of the under-20 national team is in the squad and gets some time at the FIFA World Cup, I say absolutely beautiful. That's how your national team's supposed to work.
I've got two quick ones for you on this, Boz.
Yes.
One, what do you think of the equation of it's really good to be training with the first team at Man United versus you're not playing games? Like, which...
Brilliant. No, absolutely brilliant. There's nothing better feeling as a young player when you, I can only, again, from personal experience, when you get called up to train with the first team. And I did it quite regularly, and you feel it's such a buzz. And you're playing with some of the, very, very best. So it improves you out of sight. It also gives you that feeling that if I go and play for the Socceroos, everyone gets nervous, but it's the way you deal with those nerves. You can always fall back on the marker that that's okay because I'm training with Bruno Fernandes. I'm training with Mbeumo. I'm training with De Ligt. So that can give you that type of security. So I know if I can do it against them, I can do it here.
The other one is, do you see any possibilities of him playing first team football this season?
Yeah, I do. I really do. There's a Manchester United, unfortunately, in a way for him, are not in Europe. So if they're in Europe, probably even bigger opportunity. But so from what I've heard, I really think that he might get the opportunity, even just to make his debut.
I think he'd fit Ruben's system from what I know of him as a player in terms of he is a natural winger attacking player.
He's a right wing back.
Two-way fullback. So in the middle there basically fits that
3-4-3. And the 21s at Manchester United and the 18s change a bit, but my intel is the 21s play exactly the same. He's getting a stack of minutes with the 21s in Premier League too, so that's where he's playing.
The way Ruben's played recently, you never know. Yeah, he's adapted.
Good point. Gents, thank you.
This has been another Stan Sport production.